it's Jan at Learn English with Be Global, and today we're going to learn about secrets to improve your English listening skills. Now there are many ways to improve your English listening skills, and truthfully, with the resources on the internet, most of them are not that secret. But in this video, I'll share what I've gleaned to be some of the best ways I think you can improve your English listening skills. So the first way is to mentally prepare to listen. I start with this secret because after I've explained this tip a little bit, you could pause this video, mentally prepare, and then practice it for the rest of the time you're listening. So how do you mentally prepare to listen to English? Well, generally, you can anticipate what the topic or context of English conversation is going to be before it happens, right? Now, for example, you know this video is going to be about improving your English listening skills, right? Therefore, you can expect to hear some key words. What might be some key words with regard to this topic that you might think about before continuing to listen to this video? Can you think of some? Just simple key words. You're like, when I hear that, I know what they're talking about, right? So maybe one would simply be listening. That's a key word, okay? Another one might be, we're talking about secrets. So write that down on a piece of paper. Secrets. The word secrets. Another one might be speed. Okay? Speed. Another one might be accuracy. Context. Okay? So those might be some of the words you could anticipate with this particular topic. So once you've made that list of keywords, review them, and then start the video again, and be ready to hear them, and be confident that that you're catching the main ideas. When you're prepared to catch the main ideas, it frees up more of your concentration for the rest of the connecting content. That makes sense, right? So that will help you. You've kind of knocked out the tough, I don't know about the tough stuff, but the big concepts in your mind. You can be ready to hear those. So then, how do you mentally prepare for a conversation? One of those two-way things, right? Of course, that's a bit tougher. However, you can always prepare even a little bit. I think we've all prepared ourselves when we needed to call someone to whom we felt a little shy. We practiced what we would say beforehand. So even in our native language, we wanted to be prepared to speak to someone else who was in our native language. So this is pretty normal stuff, but it's important. If you need to call someone, for example, consider what questions might come up based on the topic of your conversation. If you're able, write out the dialogue. As you're writing it out, you'll likely discover something that you find difficult to express in English. So when you do that, you are preparing maybe further than you thought for topics or words that may be exchanged in the conversation. You might say, well, writing a dialogue isn't listening. No, but it really is preparing you to listen, and that is so important. I'll tell you, in the U.S., For example, firefighters are held with great respect and honor. And I learned something about them recently. Did you know that firefighters don't spend most of their time fighting fires? You might already know they spend most of their time preparing to fight fires. And that's why they do it well. And that's the same with you. You know, listening is a very important thing to do. You don't do it all the time, but in order to do it well, you need to prepare. And so this is one of the ways you can do that. You can create a list of key words that you are anticipating will be a part of that conversation. And so our first secret to learning how to improve your listening skills is to mentally prepare. Well, our second tip, secret to improving your English listening skills is to focus on what you can understand. What you can understand. And I have 3 quick just sub-points for this secret. If you are listening to someone, don't let yourself get distracted by words you don't understand. I realize you want to understand the whole idea, but if you don't, may I suggest saying to the person, can I tell you what I just heard you say? People love to hear what they said. So if you didn't get all of it, they'll usually be happy to fill in the gaps for you. The second sub-point is, even if the person you're talking to is speaking quickly, practice calmly focusing on what you do understand. Don't panic. Remember, if you let yourself get too worried, you'll have an even harder time understanding. So relaxing, breathing, keeping a good perspective can help fight negative and unhelpful distractions. And it can help you achieve your main goal of being a better English listener. Alright, so our third sub-point is to give yourself time to wait for the whole context to make itself known. So maybe you're in a conversation with several English speakers and you don't understand it at first. Well, really, eventually the context will reveal itself by the key words that we talked about before that are repeated, and also some phrases that are repeated. So, to review, our second secret to improving your English listening skills, it is focus on what you can understand. The 3 sub-points: don't get distracted by what you don't understand. Calmly focus on what you do understand. Don't panic. And then C is just wait for the actual context to reveal itself, because it will happen. Okay, so our third secret for improving your English listening skills is don't try to do a mental translation into your language while you're listening. What does that mean? Well, when I was preparing for this video, I learned this idea, and I think it's very insightful and worth applying and passing on. And I'm going to give you the tip, the exact quote from the English teacher that I heard this from, and he said, if you listen to English and try to translate it into your language at the same time, you're trying to do something that is impossible. Talk about frustrating. Our brains just don't work like that. You cannot concentrate on listening to someone and at the same time be translating what he or she is saying into your own language. When you do this, you're cheating yourself out of the best chance to understand. For example, I'm trying to learn Spanish. When I read in Spanish, I fight the temptation to mentally transcribe the Spanish I'm reading back into English. Why? Well, because transcribing it back into English is really not necessary for me to understand what I'm reading. And in fact, doing so makes it lose its unique Spanish flavor, which is great. Not to mention, though, it slows down my reading considerably. And the same would be true for my listening or for your listening. So just try to embrace those English words and keep listening. Well, we're on number 4 of our secrets to improving our English listening skills. Number 4 is practice listening in English from people with different accents and different voices. And you might be thinking, why would I torture myself like that? Well, I'll give you 2 super reasons why it's good to practice English from people with various accents. Well, the first reason is there's always going to be differing opinions about which person speaks proper English. So, if you say, shouldn't I just focus on learning how to listen to people who are the proper English speakers? Well, yes, that would be helpful if everybody spoke proper English. But hardly anyone does. Sorry to tell you, most of the English-speaking world does not speak English the way it is spoken by, for example, international newscasters, these professionally trained people. They're a great foundation, but most people don't really talk like that. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that you should practice listening to English speakers who have different accents or voices is because most of the English, and again this was a secret that I learned and I'm passing on to you, that more and more non-native English speakers are speaking to other non-native English speakers. So you're going to need to know what that sounds like, not just from one particular English-speaking country. So, be a very good use of your time to listen to other non-native English speakers as well. When I worked with internationals at MIT, you might imagine they were from all over the world. And they needed to understand each other's English accent if they were going to complete their experiments in the lab. That was just as important as understanding what they were doing in the laboratory. Understanding non-native English speakers' English accents and what they were saying in their cohort group. Now I work with many Chinese students and they struggle with understanding the East Indian English. However, it's a very helpful skill that they're going to need to have if they're going to accomplish their goals, maybe their academic goals or even career goals, and vice versa. So these are really practical things for you to do, not just trying to make it harder on you. If you only listen to one person's kind of English, maybe off of an English tape or some English speaker, then everybody else that speaks English is going to sound like they're speaking a different language when they're really speaking English. And you'll miss out on a lot. Also remember that men and women and children say things with different accents and voices as well. So don't just practice listening to one gender or age group speak English. You'll really be limiting yourself. Some listening tips, listening skills to work on while you're working on this tip is to listen to songs, people singing, not for the grammar but for their meaning, to practice hearing it in different voices in different ways. Also listening to audiobooks, podcasts, and textbook exercises, many of which are free online. You can practice listening to someone speak quickly and hear what they're saying over and over. That's good. If you watch short English TV shows or even commercials, I would recommend the following. So get a show that you can watch over and over. Of course, YouTube is great for this. And then practice listening in this order. First, play the show, but don't look at it. Just listen and see what you can understand. Write down the main ideas that you're gathering. So the show is behind you. So pretend maybe you're listening to someone on the phone. It's a great practice. So that's the first one. Have the show on, but don't look at it. Just listen. Then watch the show, the same show, without subtitles and see what else you can understand. Then watch it again with English subtitles. Fill in some more of the gaps of what you're understanding. And finally, if there are some subtitles that are in your language, watch it in English, but reading your native language's subtitles, the words under the screen that are saying what the actors are saying. So I wish I could be with you to help you with that, but I'm sure you will do great. Well, I hope this video helped you improve your English listening skills. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, hit subscribe and leave a comment below.